ladies
Ladies
and
and
gentlemen.
gentlemen, yep, we did it at the same time. That's how we're doing it, folks. It's Monday, brand new day of the week. It is Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Gotti, and that guy over there is from the great state of North Carolina. That guy is Doc, the God.
Always with the Professor John Gotti, the king of RNG, the troll master, the data analyzing ninja, the conqueror of his own fate, the Terminator.
The least hype machine and best podcasting machine. Doc Ellie Dilla, how are you doing? How was your weekend? The hype in Vegas, Summer League action. We had highlights, we had some lowlights, but people forget about the lowlights because, of course, USA men won gold in basketball, so that's all people are talking about. Oh my gosh, they did it. Oh, I knew they can always do it. Those people who say that are liars. They're casuals, and they had no business talking about basketball.
Yeah, I don't know where these enthusiasts came from. And as I said on Friday, I didn't even know that we were still in contention for gold. So, yeah, but then again, that's been the common theme, I would say, for the Olympics and United States altogether is that if it's not gold, it don't matter. You know, like winning silver and bronze is like
Which
the
is
worst thing
which
possible.
is and I don't like to say this, but it's stupid and it's also dumb for people
So
to
it kind
think that
of,
it's gold or nothing. Like
yeah,
if you win a medal, it's an achievement. Okay.
exactly. Exactly. And
Okay.
but
People go throughout their lives. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for many people to come away with a medal. There are people who never even sniffed it. These Olympics, we had countries that didn't even medal before until this year. And we're over here talking about, oh, well, we didn't get gold. How privileged are we, United States?
it's pretty rough, man. Pretty dang rough. All I know is that it kind of takes away from the people who are competing and maybe just fell slightly short, right?
Exactly.
Right. Um,
Well, I
and I'm
mean, granted,
sure,
people are getting on Luca because Slovenia didn't even win bronze.
right. But I don't hear about anybody else on that team but Luca.
Exactly.
You know, I don't hear about anybody else on that team.
Because that's all those that are covering the Olympics know about. It's just Luca. There are some really, really good players there. Again, I've said this at the start of the Olympics during these exhibition games where people were losing their minds, acting like the sky is falling, like an Aesop poem or short story.
Very short story. And honestly, the Olympics really flew by. I
Yeah, it
remember when
was
it
two
first
weeks.
started. Yeah, but it was like when it first started, I was like, oh, let me jump into it. And then the next day, I know it's like coming to an
No,
end.
no. I mean, we had U.S. women winning water polo, which was pretty
Mhm.
incredible to watch. Of course, the U.S. ladies winning gold for basketball as well.
For the
Sue
99th
Bird and
time.
Diana Taurasi. Taurasi won 5 gold medals, which
Mhm.
is the first in basketball, period, in
Right,
the Olympics.
right. But
Oh,
I mean,
but U.S. men won gold, so all is right in the world. Yeah, thanks, folks.
not to take away anything from what, the top 5 countries, right? You got China, the ROC did pretty well, right? Actually, and then I guess in third would be the Great Britain. If we're talking about total awards, obviously
Total
gold,
medals, yes.
United States, China, Japan, right? But total awards, right? Which they really should be going based off. It should be going off of the total amount of actual medals.
Yep.
And I think that's something that people do here, even on Google. It's sorted by gold.
Yes.
Right. So China 38, so they're right behind us. It's not that, so they would have been number 1 in the gold, but we would have still had pretty much almost 40 more medals than them total because we picked
Exactly.
up a lot of bronze.
And that's the
So
point.
yeah,
Like, that's the point. Oh, but it's
yeah,
gold or nothing. Stop it. Stop it.
yeah,
That should be ashamed of yourselves.
yeah, big time. I don't know. I mean, I'm hopefully this narrative changes in the future because it really hurts the people who, this might be their first time competing.
Mm-hmm.
This might be, their first time getting bronze or even silver,
Exactly.
right? Like they've not gotten anything. Now they've been battling for 4 years to a point where now they at least got up to bronze and silver. But I don't know. I think that's just a narrative that not only do people need to change, but of course the media needs to change and really show some respect to these athletes who I know the mentality from the great Ricky Bobby is if you're not first, you're last. But
This is ridiculous.
this is ridiculous. Yes, big time ridiculousness. But we did have summer league action, as you did mention. We had the top picks playing in concession as the number 2 and 3 pick played against each other yesterday. You had Green versus Mobley, Rockets versus Cavs, which I thought was absolutely awesome.
It
Not
was
just
a
because the
fun
Rockets,
watch. It was a fun
yeah, not because the Rockets won, but Jalen
it
Green
helped
came
out that the
as,
Rockets won as well.
of
I
course,
mean,
of
let's
course,
not sit here and act like Doc isn't grinning ear to ear
he
that
is,
his
he is.
Rockets didn't walk away with that dub and he didn't have a smile on his face for it.
I mean, there were some sloppy moments in the first half, and
Of course. I mean,
as
again,
I mentioned,
first summer game.
and they're all pretty young. And as I mentioned to you, my experience of the first half going into the second half was interrupted by yet another fire alarm, which kind of sucked.
People just need to learn how to
Uh,
cook.
yeah, they really do. Learn to use the glass top. They even give you instructions in the drawer, specifically how
Many
to
people
cook
don't even know how
on
to
the
clean
glass
that
top.
glass top.
Yeah, and it's important to know how to clean it because if you don't clean it, then I guess that'd be another reason your smoke alarm will go off. But that's something different. The rockets are hot. The alarms are going off in Vegas,
I see what you're saying.
outside and inside.
Yes.
But
And
people were
Doc
talking about
mentioned
Green.
normally we would be out there watching some of these games. I would have
Yeah,
loved to watch that Knicks game. I would have really enjoyed watching that Rockets game with the big man himself, Doc
oh yeah,
Idolo. But unfortunately, COVID said, nah, fam, we
nah,
good.
fam.
And of
Yeah,
course,
we're not
Dr.
doing that.
McCraw said, nah, fam, we good too.
Yeah. And I would say this, and it's going to be interesting because number one, Cade Cunningham did play in the next game, which I felt they struggled. And I did mention it off the show that I felt like the media was going to have a field day with it. I haven't read or seen anything just yet, but it's just game one.
It's just
And
game. Exactly.
and obviously the Pistons team struggled. So I would assume that their young people would struggle as well. But I saw some bright spots out there outside of Cade Cunningham that the Cavs have. I don't know if they're going to use them, but they're there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I didn't even mention my man Alperen Sengun
Nope.
or Josh Christopher.
Wait, what did you call him yesterday? Let's get that on the podcast. What did you call him?
I mean, at first I called him Turkey, right? Because that's where he's from, right? Big Turk, right? Turkesian, Steve Turkesian.
Yes. You said all
um,
those things. I'm like,
I
I'll make sure
did.
Doc said that on air because that was just too
And I'll
good.
say this part too. He looks not just in stature, but he looks like a young Paul Gasol. Like he just has that motion and game that Paul had when he first came out, right before he
He
joined the
also has
Lakers.
really good instincts too, which is like, it's something that you just can't teach.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's a language barrier. Because I know, just like Yao and any other international player where English isn't their first language, they know
Yep.
some words, obviously, but it's not his native tongue. But I'm sure basketball language he can speak.
Is universal.
Yeah.
Basketball is
So
universal.
yeah, it
It's
really
just the
is.
spoken language is where there's limitations.
Yeah. So
But
he
of
did a
course,
good
people were
job.
talking about his free throw routine.
Oh yeah. Which I'm looking forward. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing it in 2K. I'm sure they'll put it in there
I don't
because
think they're
it's
going to put it in
unique.
2K. I don't think they're going to put
They
it in
might.
2K.
Because you think about it, it's a unique one, and you've already heard, well, I heard the announcers making a
Mention
whole
it.
segment out of it.
Yep.
So it's highly possible that maybe not in the first rendition, but I would say as time goes on
Maybe.
and he becomes more positive, more, I guess,
Well,
more
more popular.
popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like they're not just gonna have him do that just to do it. Like he has to become like a very popular figure within the NBA for them to do something like that. Like I
Yeah.
highly doubt they're gonna just do that off the jump.
Of course. Of
But
course.
another thing that I noticed during this game, because we'll stay here and we'll head to the other game in a moment. Did you notice that they started counting during the free throws?
I heard it slightly. I didn't think that it was
It was
bad.
there. I think
I
this is
mean,
now going to become a really bad habit for when big men go to shoot free throws.
well, I think that because of his routine and how he, obviously talks to the basketball and says, and I'm sure it's just like a quick prayer or a quick thank you or appreciation or something. But or maybe he's just telling it to go in. Right?
It's a lot of things that they kind of kept
Yeah.
saying, but until I hear it from him,
Right. Exactly.
it's all speculation.
But yeah, I heard it briefly, but I don't think he's taking the whole 15 seconds to do that.
But I feel like
Yeah.
that's going to become now a thing that we're going to hear a lot in NBA games.
And that's the thing. I don't know if in that Turkish league they have that free throw count. That's the thing I don't know. Like, is that just one of those things? But I want to make sure not to skip past your New York Knicks.
I mean, we kind of did because they played before both of those other
No.
games.
I know. But I want to make sure because I know people want to hear about the first top 3 picks of the draft. And guess what? The Knicks didn't have that this year. The Rockets, the Cavs, and the freaking Pistons had those. The Knicks had a late round pick for the first time in many years. So it is good that we did not go over them first.
Again, I still really enjoyed our picks. Obi Toppin has flourished in this first summer game. Of course, for me, take that summer game success and translate that to the regular season.
Yeah.
And I thought he still had a pretty good second half to the season last year. So I think this is just going to allow him to bring that further with him being the quote unquote veteran of the Summer League squad. Manuel quickly came in. He had himself a pretty good solid 37 minutes. I don't think he shot 5 for 17, but I don't think he was like going to be a big feature. I was really curious to see what Quentin Grimes was going to do. He shot 3 for 11. I thought he was, a little bit timid in his first outing, but again, this is the first summer league game. Plus, this is all about getting associated with how the NBA style of offense is played. Because we have a training camp to actually learn all the sets. This is more of just getting yourself acclimated to the pace of play for the NBA.
I'm surprised at your announcing of Quentin Grimes being how close it is to Cameron Grimes.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh my God. I was so.
I feel like the only thing that people are talking about out of this game, of course, was the Jericho Sims
the dunk.
Which, I mean, it was great, but again, I want to see consistency. He shot 6 for 6.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. Like, I just want to see consistency. It's never just about wins or losses when it comes to me. It's about how consistent you can be and how you play defense. Because the wins will come if you keep those two up.
No, I agree. I'm so glad you said that because I'm having an internal struggle, obviously, with my flag football team, but that last part really resonated with me. But it also resonates with my Rockets as well as all of the lottery teams.
Exactly.
You think about it, a lot of them have those moments where I was more impressed with, I guess, the team's ability to play defense.
Yes.
Right? Because that's a place in which we struggled in like during the league, obviously we had a lot of young players, and I'm sure it's going to be different. Like this is like, you know, and I'm not trying to play these players out, but it's almost like playing on like rookie or superstar, right?
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And then you get to the NBA, and and this is where I guess the preseason and these kind of things kind of get people big headed because it's like, hey, you're playing on, a rookie, you're playing on superstar, and then when the league starts, it goes up to Hall of Fame or All Madden,
Yep.
and then those same things that you saw don't look quite so great anymore, because the level of competition is different,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like on yesterday, Sunday, hey, Rockets look great playing against a team that has some great young talent. This is the first time a lot of these guys have played together, right? Then we go on to play the Pistons next. Let's see how. Let's see if it's consistent. If these young guys can be consistent, then when they get to the NBA and they become, I don't want to say NBA, when they get to the league, I guess when the league starts, how will that consistently how will that consistency translate over, or how will it I guess carry over?
Exactly.
That's what I'm looking for. But I
Which for
mean,
those that was drafted, that's an easier transition. But for a lot
yeah,
of the other people in the summer league, they're trying to make a team.
yeah. So they're hungry,
So they have to
uh,
come out there and being hungry about it.
and this is why
So
I think the league should have another expansion team or two, because there's too many basketball players. Like there's too many basketball players, not only in the G League or in, trying to make a team, but there's too many basketball players around the world where
yes,
we should literally be able to have extra two teams thrown in somewhere, um, and go through, the expansion draft,
you
right?
know,
Go through. I
I
really believe that.
I will agree with you, but I have two caveats to that, and you
Do the
may or may
caveat.
not love it. I think
Hey,
one of the teams, the owner needs to be a minority.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all. Unfortunately and fortunately, it will probably be LeBron.
I wouldn't be against it.
It would probably be LeBron because you think about it. Obviously, Michael Jordan owns the team, so
He doesn't own the team. He's not
he owns
majority
a
owner of the team.
he owns a pretty good stake.
Yes, because the same thing could be
He's the
said about
figurehead.
Magic. Exactly.
Yeah, he's the figurehead. Well, Magic was the figurehead. I don't know what Magic is
Well,
kind
now
of
he's
flip
with the
flopped all over the
Dodgers.
place.
He's like with the
Yeah,
Dodgers with
he's
their
doing a lot
stuff.
of this. He's doing a lot of this. But yeah, that would be great. Um, Even if you got people together
Uh-huh.
to buy it, right? And put it in a city where, again,
Oh, apparently they
you,
have Michael Jordan as the owner.
yeah, that's what I said. Like
I
he's the
don't.
figurehead at least.
Yeah, I think he's the figurehead. I don't think he's the actual owner.
I mean, I don't know. Again, that's one of those things you don't know if he's purchased additional stock, but um, I don't blame him. Like I said, Charlotte is a good place because Charlotte is a it's a major city in North Carolina. Obviously, this is the team that represents North Carolina, so makes sense that he would try to buy this one.
Yep.
Obviously, LeBron would try to buy the Cavs, right? Not naturally,
You know,
that's what you would
it's
think,
it's so weird. I could see LeBron creating his own team in a different
right?
market and just he might actually be the one to bring a basketball team back to Seattle.
I could, and it would be genius because, or
Exactly.
hey, or he could bring a
Because he
team
has a
back to
connection
New
with Nike.
Jersey.
I think he'll
Ah,
probably want to stay
LeBron.
west. I think he want to
He
stay
would,
west.
yeah. I don't blame him. Um,
Plus,
but it would be
I
fun,
don't think we need another tri-state team. Now, I do miss our state of New Jersey having a basketball team, but let's
of
be
course.
honest, they weren't that relevant.
They only had their moments. Obviously, they're small moments. But you're right. They really weren't relevant. I don't know why they never picked up steam. I don't know why it took a move to Brooklyn
No.
for it to
So there's two
be.
cities that I know they're going to have a basketball team in, and it's going to be Seattle and Las Vegas. It's going to be both of those
Las
cities.
Vegas. Yeah, Vegas needs a team. I mean, you're gonna host summer league. Obviously, people will come out. Obviously, the Raiders are there, so it's like people will come
Also,
out.
the hockey team that's out there too.
The hockey team, that's right. So yeah, I'm not sure. I would be looking forward to that though, because we have a lot of talent. Like, there's a lot of basketball players, both here and international. I mentioned that, like, a lot of those international players who are talented, but we don't know them because we don't watch that basketball. And I think I want to start watching more of that basketball because I believe that basketball is all year round.
It is.
So I want to see more of that. So I got to do my due diligence on finding more of that basketball.
Well, and the best part about that kind of basketball is there's no ego. There's no ego.
Yeah.
They're about team. They're about winning.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Well, I mean, we'll have to continue to monitor this, man, and see what the NBA does. Maybe we'll have to become, the billionaires
They're
to
not
buy
ready for
a
us to
team.
become they're not ready for us. Come on, we both know this. They would never have two kids from
Two of them.
New Jersey
Oh,
on the
God.
basketball team. We would become the Death Star.
Well, you know what I was pretty happy about? I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I feel like we might have talked about it. I don't know if it was on. Did we talk about the Jaguars owner last week on the podcast?
Yes.
We did. Okay. I just want to make sure because, like, the fact that he started making bumpers, right, as an engineer, and then bought the company and then worked with Toyota and became a billionaire because every car does need a bumper. It's like, imagine that. Like, you find something that, hey, you love doing, and it just so happens to make you a billionaire, right?
Yep. Yeah, we actually ended the episode.
Yeah, so
last week on that.
Now we're talking about it again because we talk about, like, buying a franchise or starting a franchise. Obviously, most likely a couple $100 billion, but it would be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
But I did want to touch on a few things before we wrap up. Obviously wanted to pay our respects to longtime Florida State football coach Bobby Bowden, who passed away this weekend at the age of 91. I know a lot of the former players, like Warrick Dunn, actually went ahead and paid their respects on social media. A lot of people were, really, really upset. And I know that, I would say college football definitely lost a legend this weekend. So, also, CJ McCollum was elected as the new National Basketball Player Association president.
Yep.
Which is pretty awesome.
Chris Paul.
Right. Which is awesome, right? A new young player rep. That's awesome.
Which is what we kept wanting. We want the youth to lead.
Yes, we do. And it's funny because lastly, I was going to talk about the Hall of Fame and some of the induction speeches, but I think Peyton Manning actually said it best, is that in football, we can't go kind of based on some of the old ways of doing things. Like, the game will always evolve, and we have to make sure that we pass some of these things down to our youth because they're going to take the torch and kind of run with it. Paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah.
But even since I've graduated from high school and college, like, you think about how faster and stronger people have gotten. So now you got people who are 6'3", 300 pounds, running the 40 in freaking 4 seconds. So, it's definitely a different game. So the new safety measures and the new style of playing definitely has to evolve with the change of these physical specimens.
And we'll get more into the Hall of Fame, and we'll touch base on the new NBA rule changes as well too.
The rule changes
on tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, some of the speeches were really, really good. So we'll definitely want to get into that tomorrow. But Johnny, I know the people heard this show on their favorite podcast platform. And if they couldn't find it, which I doubt it because we're on all of them, but they can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com, not only to review this episode, but all of the previous ones. Be sure to tune in Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we'll always deliver the news, the analysis, and those reads.
Get your stuff together, America.